It's Sunday, January 6th, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2008 now. And what you're looking at is Ao Shalong, that pier that extends out from the beach well over a quarter of a mile. Is used to service principally all the tourist boats because the water is quite shallow here. So it's difficult for the larger boats to get in, or impossible for them to get in close to the beach. At the base of the pier also is the Immigration, Customs, and Harbor Master's office, so it makes it real easy to check in here. Just come in and pick up a mooring or drop your anchor and go on in and check in the morning. Only takes an hour or so. Panning over a little bit more to the west, you see that big bump up on top of the hill there. That's a 150-meter high statue of Buddha that's either being refurbished or constructed. Down in the foreground you see that lighthouse and the red roof building. That's a building of some note. Been a stopover for many years and used to house the Immigration and Customs, although it's actually a restaurant now, and probably was before. Anyway, I'm anchored in about 8 feet of water. You can see how long the pier is. It extends quite a ways out there. Fortunately, that little building right there on the side of the pier is the fuel dock, so you can get gasoline, diesel, and fresh potable water there. A lot of moorings here and a lot of boats that have to do with the dive business and all kinds of tours that go to some of the other islands off the coast of Phuket here. There are a number of cruisers in here that are transient and getting ready either to stay in Southeast Asia for another year or to head out across the Indian Ocean like I will be doing in about another 8 or 9 days. And it's Wednesday, January 23rd, a little bit before noon. What you're looking at is the Indian Ocean, looking due north more or less from the boat. A couple hundred miles up that way is the East Indian coast. Presently on a passage from Thailand to the Maldives, and sometime around sundown today I should be at the halfway point. I haven't had to touch the sail trim or the wind vane for the last 3 days. The boat's been going quite nicely on course, making 130, 135 miles a day. Right now it's blowing about 15 knots, maybe a little bit more, not much. Seas are 6 to 8 feet. Spent the last 2 days going through a major shipping lane and was surrounded by ships day and night. This morning one got a bit close and I had to actually alter course a little bit, so we didn't have a collision. For this passage I tried a new combination of sails. I dug out the working jib and I'm flying that to windward. It's poled out. It's eased off a bit. That keeps the boat from being pushed off away from the wind too far and going too far south. And that's opposed on the leeward side, the port side, by the Yankee, which is sheeted off the end of the main boom. It's proved to be a pretty good combination. Balance is very... It's Saturday, February 16th, about 7:30 in the morning. You're looking off to about the southwest. It's a pass between South Mali Atoll and Mali Atoll. It's in the Maldives. This island that I'm panning across is Mali. And even so, you see all that green in the foreground, that's actually a separate island, which is their tank farm for fuel. You can see all the tall buildings in the background. That the island is pretty much completely covered. There are a few bare spots and a couple of small parks. Panning around through the south, that's the beginning of Hulhumali, which is a separate atoll where the airport is. And all those buildings over there are the main airport buildings. The runway runs out here, getting around into the sun a little bit. And over that away is the boat lagoon where I was anchored until this morning. One of the local ferry boats carrying aggregate. Doing a lot of construction here. A lot of fancy resorts on the different motus in the atoll. Most of them quite expensive. I'm headed out this way, which is a pass between two of the motus to leave the atoll of Mali and head west to the Seychelles. It's Saturday, February 23rd, getting on towards 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're looking back east there and see that line of clouds with the gray, dark gray underneath, it's a little squall line just came through. It happens about every 30 minutes or so. I'm on the 8th day of a passage between the Maldives and the Seychelles Islands. Last night about midnight I passed the halfway point, and from noon yesterday to today I had a 144-mile day. The first 5 days of the trip were kind of slow, only made about 100 miles a day. And then a little squall line started coming in from the north, and each time one came through, the wind came up a little bit more. So now it's blowing about 20 knots, gusting up a little more. The seas are running, 2.5, maybe 3 meters. The boat's going quite well. It's pretty cloudy, but there's still a lot of blue sky out there. I've been using the Yankee extensively ever since I left Indonesia, and I've really come to like this sail and appreciate it. Drives the boat quite well and doesn't cause excessive heeling. Right now I'm using that and a single reef main. The boat's sailing along quite well. I expect it'll be in the Seychelles maybe in another week or so. It's Tuesday, February the 26th, about 2:30 in the afternoon. I'm looking due south. I'm on my way to the Seychelles. I'm just about ready to cross the equator again, from the north to the south this time. It's a little rolly, you can see, because I'm sailing almost dead downwind. It's blowing about 12 knots or so. Seas aren't too bad, making about 5 knots. See, I got the drifter sheeted off the end of the main boom, and I got the Yankee up pulled off to windward. I do that because I got the smaller sail to windward so it doesn't push the bow too far off the wind. I'm trying to hold down to the a little bit to the west of due south, because once I get closer to the Seychelles, supposedly I'll have a more westerly wind. Anyway, if you look real close in the ocean here, about 100 feet ahead or so, right about now, you will see the equator as we're sailing across it. And FeNIX is once again in the southern hemisphere. I crossed the other way back in, I guess it was September, on my way to Singapore. It's a pretty nice day. It's Friday morning, March 22nd, 2008, about 9:30. The boat you're looking at, straight in front of the camera there, is about a 10-meter boat with a Spanish single-hander. Man slightly older than me, I think about 65, Miguel. Met him in the Maldives, and we spent some fun times together so far. This is the little harbor in the city of Victoria on the island of Mahé in the Seychelles. This is the area that's a commercial port out there, but this area where all the boats are moored is mostly for pleasure boats, and there are some charter boats and such. See some pretty good sized hills there, and the wind blows up over them with the clouds, and it usually condenses the moisture in the clouds, and then it rains over here in the harbor. Mostly just light sprinkles, but had a couple days of real heavy rain. That tan building there is the local yacht club, Seychelles Yacht Club. I have a restaurant and a bar and cold water shower. And there's a charter boat association group in there. A lot of fishing boats and charter boats.